Okay, so it's coming up to summer, getting hot, and this year I decided to get rid of Sophie's long coat, and instead of handing her over to a groomer, I took the plunge with the clippers. And after several bagfuls of cut hair, I feel like I now have a significantly smaller dog than when I started out. I bought the clipper a couple of years ago, and like many doodle owners, I felt a bit of trepidation actually using it. I mean, who can live up to that job done by professional groomers? But as we golden doodle owners know all too well, this coat grows back, and quickly. So even if the clip turned out really badly, the reality is after a few weeks it will be long again, regardless. Before I go on, there are two things I need to share which made clipping challenging for me. The first thing is Sophie is a diva and doesn't make anything easy for me. So not only was this my first time clipping, but I had to do it one-handed, because with the other hand I had to feed the coin machine. And by that I mean coaxing her cooperation with a constant supply of kibble. Your dog may be far more obedient than what mine is, and if that's the case, I'm happy for you and a little envious, knowing that the process will be far easier. And thing number two is something I brought on myself, which is not using a proper grooming table. I do have my reasons. I'm quite a minimalist in my home and I don't like too much furniture, so I didn't want to add a grooming table into the mix. If I were to put Sophie on a normal table without the restraints, she'd just be wanting to jump off, and I just don't have that third hand to prevent her from doing that. So much of the time I ended up doing the clipping on the floor. So now let's take a look at the clipper itself. The one I used is the Kazoo R4000. I chose it because it's a mid-range clipper. I didn't want to spend too much in case I didn't want to use it. I like that it's cordless and has magnetic clip-on combs, which help guide how much coat length will be cut off. But first thing was first. I bathed, dried and brushed Sophie before anything else. That's so that the clipper could glide through the coat without getting stuck and without any dirt getting into it. I then familiarized her to the sound and feel of the clipper by switching it on and giving her kibble for positive association. When Sophie was lying down, I started the process by clipping her underside. Then when she was sitting down, I clipped from the top of her neck down to her rump and alongside the body. As far as cooperation, this was when she was at her best. Midway, I took a photo when just her body was clipped and her legs still had long hair. A kind of Clydesdale horse-inspired look. You can see on the photo that I didn't blend the body with the legs, but you get the idea. And in retrospect, I should have left it at that, because she wasn't terribly happy about having either her legs, feet or chest clipped. And even feeding her plenty of kibble didn't help much there. I had to get Simon to hold her, and even then the will of Sophie prevailed, and she managed to wriggle out most of the time. With her skinny legs clipped, she looked and looks more like a shorn sheep. But anyway, I already did a video, which I'll link up above here, to how I tidy up her head and face in between clips. I did all these things, which I already have some experience with, but the trickiest part for me was to blend the head with the body. I also cut back the tail, which I did with just thinning scissors rather than the clipper, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And despite having the combs on the clippers, I still found it difficult to keep both sides even. So I spent quite a bit of time trying to even out one side with the other. I think that's just my inexperience with a clipper. I wasn't really running the combs flush against the body, so the coat ended up longer on one side than on the other. And another thing, I did everything in increments of about 5 to 10 minutes because I wanted Sophie to have a rest in between, and that gave me a chance to brush away the little bits of hair on the clippers, and also for the blade to have a chance to cool down. That's just me being mindful of preserving the equipment. I could probably have gone for longer at a time, but I was being conservative. It's hard to know how long precisely it took because of this stopping and starting, but I did it over a period of 2 days. Most of the time was spent cutting back one side to match the other, hence the overall cut being quite short. So there you have it. I wasn't about to make this into a tutorial, seeing as I myself was testing the waters for the first time. And despite it taking a while, and despite Sophie not looking as perfect as when she comes back from the groomers, I'm glad I had done it myself. I actually felt a sense of accomplishment, and I know it will get easier and less time consuming next time as my skills and confidence grows. Now, if you're not quite ready to take the full groom plunge, you may still like to see some of my other videos about grooming maintenance. Thanks for your company, thanks for your support, and see you again in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.